Good afternoon, everyone. This is Dr. Miller from the Department of Educational Leadership and Policy Studies. I want to welcome you to this webinar presentation regarding our program, and we'll be starting here in just a moment. I have 3:05, so I believe we have another couple of people coming in, so we'll just give you maybe about another minute, and then I'll begin our introductions. And if you do have your microphone muted, you can certainly turn it on and we can have a conversation as well as you can do the chat. And I think I'm correct in all that. Am I not, Mike? All right. Well, it sounds like I said that correctly. Very good. Well, let's go ahead and begin. And I was asked to share some of the information in regards to our master's program in educational leadership and policy studies. So as I go through this brief explanation, if you have any questions, please come on in and unmute your mic, and you can certainly ask questions, and or you can type it in the chat and we can communicate that way. Our moderator is Mike in the office and Office of Graduate Studies, and he's here to help us as well. So either way, again, I'm Dr. Miller. I'm here at the University of Texas at Tyler. I'm an assistant professor in educational leadership and policy studies. We are in the School of Education, and in a broader sense, we're in the College of Education and Psychology. Our Masters of Education program is 100% online, which may be a benefit to others, and some others may find that as a limitation. So I would want to first stress that being sure that you understand and know that we're 100% online, and that would be, I think, a given as far as whether or not it would be suited for certain types of study habits. It may suit some and may not suit others, and we certainly recognize that. We have two different tracks in our program. We have an online master's program with principal certification, which is a 30-hour degree program, but we also have a program for folks who already have a master's degree in any field, and they simply want to prepare themselves and take the principal certification exam. And that program is 22 hours. So we have the 30-hour program and the 22-hour program. It just depends on what suits you. I'm not sure, Mike, if you were able to do this for us, but if you could perhaps link to our homepage, that would be a benefit, I think, to our audience. But in that homepage, it talks about the admissions requirements. And so, Mike, are you able to do that for us? Can you do that? There it is. Well, thank you, Mike. So to our members who are viewing with us this afternoon, if you look in the chat, you'll see an active link to our particular program. If you click on that, it will take you to our homepage. And from that page, you'll see the application, the admissions requirement. First and foremost, you do have to have a bachelor's degree, whether you're in our master certification track or you're in the track that just simply wants to get the principal cert. Either way, you do have to have a bachelor's degree. Also, in both tracks, you do have to have a Texas teaching certificate. It can be in any field, and it does have to be valid. In addition to that, you have to have a minimum of 2.5 overall GPA, or at least the last 60 hours of your studies having a 2.5 GPA. Also, another thing that sometimes we do have a question about, because we are online program, sometimes applicants have the thinking that maybe they can be out of state and take our program, or even be out of the country. And yes and no to that. I would not recommend it simply because there are parts of our program that do require you to be completed in the state. And those are our practicum courses. If you look at that fifth bullet, it says all practicum courses must be completed in a Texas school. While not all of our classes involve these three practicum courses, the ones when you do take the practicum or internships, you do have to be in Texas, and you do have to be mentored by a Texas certified principal. And obviously, if you're out of state or out of the country, you're probably not going to meet that condition. And we've actually had students who have had to come back into Texas to fulfill those practicum courses. And that's doable, but that really would be, I think, a burden on a lot of folks. So we really would encourage our students to be full-time in the state of Texas while they are taking our program. I see that there's a question about the superintendency certification. There is a link to that as well. I can tell you that I was not a former SUP, and what that means as far as our program is concerned, I do not have the expertise as far as what it takes to be in our certification program for the superintendency. However, there is certainly a link. If you'll scroll down from that home page, you'll see that there's a link to the superintendency program as well in there, and you can click on that and then find out as far as the information needed to register to get into our superintendency program. I'm a former elementary teacher and principal, and so I teach in the master's program, yes, and I teach the principal side and not so much the superintendency. So I'm really not going to be the expert on that. So I apologize, Yvonne. However, I do see that Mike has provided you the link to the superintendency certification. And in that link, I believe that there will be Dr. Jennifer Jones's name. She's one of our faculty members. She's a former superintendent, and she oversees that program. So you can email her and contact her through her office phone and get information about the superintendency program as well. So hopefully that will be of help to you. On our home, back to the initial landing page for our principal certification program, if you scroll down to the bottom, you will see that we have all the courses identified. We break our courses, our program of study, into what we call blocks. When you see the word block, think semesters. So really it's a 4-semester program. And one of the benefits of our program is that every one of our classes is taught every semester. We do not have a rotation schedule, so you don't have to worry about a class being offered, maybe taught every fall. I mean, I remember when I was in a master's program, that was a concern. And so this I think is a huge benefit for our students to know that they can take every class every semester. Also, you'll notice on the block scheduling that you'll see that courses are grouped together. We do ask you to take these courses concurrently as they're grouped. There's a purpose behind that. We do make exceptions, and we can allow you to maybe take 1 or 2 courses and drop a 3rd course. That is doable, but we don't encourage that. And indeed, if you follow that procedure, for example, in block 2, there are 3 classes. If you were to take 2 of the 3, and then wait another semester to take that 3rd course in block 2, you would have to take that first before you can move on and take any classes in block 3. So that could be a real burden to some people. And certainly it would cause you to be in the program longer, and that may not be suitable for a lot of people. One of the things also I wanted to point out to in our program is the cost of our program. It is approximately $7,500 to take our 30-hour master's program, and I think that's comparable to other programs in the state. It's probably right in line. It's It's not as expensive as maybe a school such as Texas A&M or the University of Texas at Austin, but it is more in line with regional schools. So I think we are very competitive that way as well. One of the things I do also, another that I'd like to point out to you, I think would be very handy to the folks listening and watching, is that we do have what we call a student handbook. And Mike, if you would do me a favor and post the link to that student handbook, it's under the documents. That I would like to go there next to share a little bit about that handbook. And there it is. My gosh, Mike, you are fast. For those, if you look down in the chat, you'll see that there is a link to the EDLR Student Handbook. And by the way, EDLR stands for Educational Leadership and Policy Studies, which is what our more broadly thinking of our program. And within that is the Principal Certification Program and the Superintendency Program. Now, when you pull this up, you'll note the title of this is Student Handbook for Principal Preparation Program. Some of these documents in here, in fact, many of these documents in here do apply to the superintendency program as well. But this one is more specifically written for the Principal Preparation Program. This is a handbook. It's about 70 pages long. There's all sorts of information in there. There are forms that we use to document the practicum experience. There's an introduction of our program itself. I pull a lot of information that's on our website and put it into this principal preparation manual. And I'd like to turn your attention to the second page. If you have that pulled up, if you look at the second page of this handbook, you'll see it's the introduction. It gives an overview of our university, and it gives an overview of our program more specifically. And I would like to point out to you that we recently were recognized nationally. The very last sentence the very last portion of that sentence talks about our national recognition. There's a site that's called bestcolleges.com. You may or may not have heard of it, but they go in and they rank university programs in all sorts of ways. And one of their categories is online master's degrees in educational administration, or ed leadership. And we just recently were ranked 29th in the country as far as being an online program. So we're quite happy about that. And so that also, by the way, that includes both the superintendency as well as the principal prep program. So we're very pleased that we're known nationally as far as an online program. So when you're looking at programs, when you're considering programs, and you weigh the value of the cost of our degree program at $7,500, and along with being nationally recognized, I think we do offer a very good value. Also, speaking to preparing our students for the Texas Principal Certification, we do quite well on that. We, on average, one of the ways that we are measured is how many of our first-time test takers pass the Principal Certification exam, which is administered by the Texas Education Agency. We don't administer it, but we do give you the permission, once you complete our program, to take the exam. We have about 89% of our students pass the exam on their first attempt. The state average, as I know it to be, and I could be off on this, but I think it's about 82%, thereabouts, 82 to 84%. And so we are substantially higher than the state average, so we're quite pleased by that. In our superintendency, I think I'm correct on this, they're like right at about 100% of all their superintendency candidates pass the superintendent certification exam on the first attempt. So that is really a remarkable feat of our students, and I think it's also a testimony to our staff as well. So I think in both instances we do very well as far as preparing our students for the state principal certification exam. Because after all, ultimately that is the goal. Of course, to get a master's degree is certainly most important, but ultimately you have to have the principal certification exam, as you know, in order to to practice here in the state of Texas. So those are two things to point out. Back to the handbook. So that's the introduction page. Beginning forward on page number 3 of that handbook, it really is an overview of campus or university policy. It goes into student rights and responsibilities. We lead off with the University of Texas at Tyler Honor Code. And this next section on university policies just gives you an overview, and it gives you contact information of who to speak to if you have any questions or concerns. On page 6, we talk about the online attendance. We do take attendance on an online program. It's obviously a little bit different than face-to-face program, but we are required to take attendance. Indeed, in fact, it's necessary for us. It's just as important. And it may seem almost counterintuitive to think that an online program has less structure than a face-to-face program. But in fact, I would say that an online program is more structured in a lot of ways, because it's a lot of self-paced study, and you're required to do a lot of things, either from your classroom after hours and or at home. And you have to sometimes do activities where you are working with other students, you're collaborating with other students online. And so that requires even an extra step, I think, then it may, an extra responsibility than compared to face-to-face classes. So we do understand the uniqueness of online programs, and we cannot stress enough to our applicants that, know if an online program suits you. It may or may not be the best thing for you. And we certainly want all of our students to be successful. And so if you have questions about what an online program may entail, further questions, of course, please unmute your mic and ask it here, and or do the chat feature. And you can, of course, always email me, contact me, or my information's on that, back to that very home page. Be happy to talk to you more at length about our online program. More information about the student handbook. As you scroll through it, there's information about the application process. We have streamlined our application process. It is also on our very first, it's on the landing page that Mike gave you early on in our discussion. It's that center, it's the www.principalcertificationonline, that link. That one will give you a description of how to apply online. We do have a fairly, I think it's a very intuitive application process, and it doesn't take a lot of work on your part, but we do, I think, glean a lot of good information as far as our potential applicants. There's a questionnaire to complete. There's a reference check to complete. You have to submit your transcripts. You have to submit your teaching credentials, because we have to make sure all that's in order before, and then we review whether or not, as far as applying and accepting people to our program. So please take a look at that. And let me pause there. I've been talking for almost 20 so minutes. Wow. And are there any questions? I see some folks up there on the screen, and if you have any questions, please jump in. I'll give some wait time. I'm a former elementary teacher, so I can pause there and see if there's any questions or comments from our audience. I think I could see somebody looking. I'm not sure your name, sir. It's S-M-E-T-Z-E-R-B. It looks like you're trying to, and you're not, let's see, not hearing you. Wow, well, my mic unmuted. I don't.
Is that working?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay, I was using the headphones. The internet's out in the band room, so I'm having to use.
Oh gosh. Well, we're good now. I mean, okay. Good. What, may I ask? So are you a band director?
Yes, sir. At Kearns ISD.
Very fine. Well, my former life, when I was growing up, I played clarinet all through high school.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So, do you have a question or comment?
Yeah, and I mean, of course, I apologize because I had to finish up, the last period there.
Oh, not worried.
Okay. my mine would actually be I get to do the 3-semester version, not the 4-semester.
Okay.
Do we still need to get the current administrator to do the reference?
Yes, you do. That's still a part whether or not you're wanting to. So the 22 semester, the 22 credit hour without getting the master's, just wanting to work towards the certification.
Right.
Right. You still, as far as the application process it's identical regardless. And so yeah, you'll need to definitely submit that.
Okay. I looked for it, and I tried it in the search, there in the in the website there. Is it a form itself, or do they just literally just write a letter?
No, it is a form.
I looked under supplementals, Ed, but I never did see it.
When you go back into our home page, and there'll be a place for admissions, and let me pull that. You'll see. Let's see. If you're on the page, the University of Texas Tyler Ed Leadership and Policy Studies, if you look under where it says Online Master of Education with Principal Certification, this also applied to you. If you scroll down about halfway down that page, there's a link that says Application for Admission. You'll see that, and then there's also if you click on that, it will take you to the admissions. Let's see, there's that aspect. Let's see me back out of that. There's also a reference form questionnaire.
Okay. I'm actually done with the actual application. I was just waiting to do the fee and then to double check on that.
Okay, and so that is where, because that one on that application, the reference form, and for if you recall, you put your name, your last name, and your principal's name and your principal's email address. Then when you hit submit, we receive that, and then we will generate the form that your principal or whoever is that campus leader, because it could be the assistant principal. I mean, we're really fine with that. We
right.
Principal, but a campus leader, and then they would actually get that email generated and sent by us, and then they would fill it. Hopefully they'd fill it out, and
right, yeah.
And it may be advisable to give them a heads up on that. So.
Oh no, yeah, I talked to him today, so I'm good to go there.
I just
wasn't sure so that's what it is. I haven't gotten to submit yet. I've just got it filled out. I was waiting on the fee really. So yeah.
There you go. There you are. And we definitely look forward to having your program. It's interesting that we have. I see that you're a choir director. I mean, you believe, is that correct? Yeah. So our band. So we have a band and a choir director. I see Michelle. That's Michelle waving. So hey, Michelle. So you have Michelle, your choir, and then we have you in band. And I think that's just awesome. We also have, all that to say, we have quite a few folks that are in fields such as currently are administrators in the fine arts that then want to get the principal certification. We also have folks in our program that are athletic directors, for example. And we have people that are from the private schools that are already practicing administrators, because private schools have a little more flexibility on who they can hire in those kinds of positions. So all that to say, you will find our cohorts are, and I think it's a strength of our program that we have folks from more maybe a traditional kind of pathway, in a sense, from classroom teachers that want to seek campus leadership administrative positions, but we also have athletic directors, and you're good examples from choir as well as band. So all these areas, I think, just make our conversations in the work that you'll do much more robust and more engaging. And I would add to that too, that's one of the things I have learned over the 4 years I've been a professor here, is that, interestingly, online programs do bring in, I think, a more diverse group of people, in the sense diverse of their jobs that they currently do in public, private, or charter schools, because we're pulling from folks all over the state. And so I think that's a benefit to our cohorts, that we have a wide range of people from not only all types of jobs they're currently doing, but also all regions of the state. Because I think we all agree that teaching in Brownsville is probably going to look a lot different than teaching in Austin, which is going to look a lot different than teaching in East Texas versus West Texas. And so this is really, I think, a benefit to our program for sure. So,
oh yeah,
yeah, yeah.
So again, I'm sorry I missed the first 20 minutes. My predecessor, Chris Wharton, he was the head director here. Now he went through y'all's program.
Oh, good.
And then he went on and he got the super part of it too. But
okay,
I remember while he was going through that process, I mean, is it still like the class times? Is it out there? Is it kind of structured the same where we can watch watch the lecture at certain times, or is it? I mean, is it? You've got to watch this at 11 o'clock, or do we have some flexibility there?
Generally, it's flexibility, but I will say, it will be up to the instructor. We have 5 professors that teach courses throughout the program. We all do things a little bit differently. However, we all use Canvas as our LMS. That's the learning management system. So we all use Canvas. And I can tell you, for example, I can speak from the 3 classes I teach, and they're pretty, I think they're indicative of everyone, more or less, and that is the courses are structured around the idea of modules. Think about lessons within a given week. And so I will module my students in my 3 classes. They're all structured are the same in that, so they're in module 1 this week, for example. Module 1 opens at a given hour, and like Monday at 12:01 in the morning, module 1 would open up, and all the materials, including the tests and the reading materials and the videos to watch, open at that designated time, and they remain open for the rest of that week, and they close like at 11:59 on a Sunday. So my modules are usually a week at a time that they're open. And so you as a learner can access and log in at any time during those windows that they're open and do all the activities and assignments required within that week span. Sometimes professors, when it comes to tests, when it comes to quizzes, they will lock down a window within that week module that you have to take the exam. Of course, they would post it. You'd be well aware of when you could open, access an exam and take an exam. It'd be posted in Canvas. It'd probably be posted in the syllabus, etc. I, for example, also the quizzes that I have in all my modules are also open during that whole week window. And some of my quizzes do have a time limit. You would certainly know that. I mean, I'm very upfront. They open for maybe 30. By the time, once you log into this quiz, you have half an hour to take this quiz. It's just multiple choice, 5 questions maybe, or maybe it's something you write. But the quizzes are are a wide array of how they're delivered. So a quiz, depending on the instructor's intent and how they want to structure it, the quiz could be open the entire week that module is open, or a quiz could be open during a specific hour of the day on a given day, or the quiz could be open at any time you want to access it, but it's on a timer that you have X amount of minutes to take it. By and large, though, courses are structured around this concept of modules. Usually modules are a week at a time. Sometimes modules would be fewer, but maybe 2 weeks per module.
Sorry, I never meant to keep it that long. I meant to get back to the end of class.
Module, it really just varies, but basically online is the nature of our program is that it's accessible to you at any time of the day. I will say there are some courses, I don't have any courses where I do it structured this way, but sometimes our instructors will do this, and that is they will group the students together, and they will have to work collaboratively on a given assignment project, maybe 4 or 5 out of a class, and there'll be 4 or 5 group projects. That would then require those students to coordinate and get together on their own time as far as planning and interacting, creating a project, etc. So there is that layer as well. So some of the courses and some of the activities would require projects as well. So that would vary. So it really kind of it's across the board on those things. So that kind of environment that I just described is almost it's synchronous in the sense that, it's live interaction that you would have to coordinate your time together. So not all the classes do projects like that, but there are some that are out there. So it's a wide range. It's a good question. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And that, again, it goes back to my conversation earlier about, we're 100% online. We certainly recognize that an online program is different. It's unique to a lot of people, and maybe for y'all. I mean, I'm almost 60 years old now. And so what that means is when I was in my master's program and my doctoral program, we were all face-to-face. I went through the University of North Texas. And it's all face-to-face program, very traditional. I can remember going up on campus Thursday nights from 5:30 to 8:30, for a class, once a week. I mean, that's the way a lot of the courses work, the master's and the doc level. This is so much different. I mean, and it may not be, I see some, Michelle says, my alma mater. Yeah. Go Mean Green. Yeah. They beat Arkansas this week in football. That was an amazing thing. So this is unique to a lot of folks. I will say also a lot of our younger, our younger learners in our program, this environment is not so unique to them. It's not so, ominous, and it doesn't seem so strange to a lot of our students either, because they've grown up in this kind of world. For folks like me and my age, it was kind of like, this is really an amazing, unique sort of thing. So just had that understanding about an online program. Of course, we do a lot. My class is like what we're doing right now, where I'm doing a live, video with you through Zoom. I will have in some of my courses scattered throughout assignments where I will have Zoom sessions similar to this, where there'll be a certain time of the day that I will require all my students to log in, and we'll have an hour-long conversation where we're sharing activities and projects. Now, usually what I'll do in that case is understanding that our students are from all over the state of Texas, and they've got all sorts of things going on. You may have a concert that evening, and you can't make that Zoom session that I've scheduled from 7 to 8 on a Wednesday night. So usually what I will do is when I do have live or synchronous sessions, I will offer students a choice of like 3 different sessions during the course of that week. And you simply sign up for one of those sessions, and hopefully one of those sessions will meet your schedule. And that also helps break down the classes as far as into more manageable groups, because like here we have just a handful of folks online, but you can imagine if you had like about 20 people and you were trying to take turns talking and sharing some activity that you were doing or something that you just read, it's kind of hard to manage all that. So that really kind of helps facilitate that discussion too. So even in an online environment, you're simply not working and sitting in isolation. You're doing activities such as we're doing today. I mean, this would be a very typical format for us, not all the time, of course. A lot of it is independent work. There'll be some collaboration. So we try to tear down the barriers on an online environment, because we really do. After all, we're all teachers. It's in our nature to be very social. I mean, we go out and we talk to people and we visit, and we're part of our students' worlds, and so So this is who we are. This is what we do. So we try to build that into our online program. Yeah. By the way, I do want to let you know, according to my watch here, I've got 3:38, and they will want us to be wrapping up by about 3:50 or so, because they've got another Zoom session coming online in a few. So just to let you know where we stand. So we're still in good shape. I wanted to give you that heads up on that. Any other questions or thoughts about our online programming, the admission process, the course structure, the cost?
I have a question, but I feel like I've been monopolizing the whole thing.
You got others, and y'all can just jump into it. Please go ahead.
When it comes to the literature that we'll need, not just the course books, but not necessarily textbooks, but the literature itself.
Right.
Is there any way? I've got my first kid coming at the end of next month.
Congratulations.
Yeah, appreciate it. But I even though I'm older in dirt, I still get Christmas money from the folks and I'm thinking if I could jump the gun in any way, that might be really helpful down the road to me.
You know, that comes up in a lot of our courses because, and yes, to a point. So I can illustrate it in the courses I teach. Is that I teach 3 of the classes. I teach a school law class. I teach one called the Administration of Special Programs, which is an overview of all the different types of activities and programs that a principal may have, from gifted and talented to fine arts to health to, you know, the cafeteria services. They know have to have an understanding of all these unique programs. All that to say, I have, within some kind of limitations, I do allow students to do activities ahead of time to try to jump the gun, you know, to get ahead on the curve. On the other hand, too, though, I do want students to stay together because I have discussion boards on relevant to that module, relevant to that week's readings and activities. And if a student were totally, you know, I understand your point. I'm not trying, if a student was totally turned loose, they could conceivably like complete all the semester work in, say, like a week.
Oh, right.
No, and we don't want that. And you didn't really say that. I mean, I understand that, but we want to try to put limits on how far ahead you can go, because we want people to stay together, to do discussions, to interact, and, you know, and that sort of thing. And so, but here's an example of how, because that comes up, and here's how I explain it. Here's things I can do to help accommodate, because I understand that need. I understand that too. The class I mentioned earlier about, it's called the Administration of Special Programs. That course is an overview of all the programs that a campus principal would have to have an understanding, knowledge, maybe not an expertise on, but have to have a working understanding and knowledge about. And I mentioned gifted and talented. Other programs within that are, if you're a Title I campus, if you have a bilingual program, if you have special education, you know, all these various programs. Part of their weekly activities on there is reading materials relevant to that topic. There's also a discussion board relevant to that topic. And there's a report that students will have to do. And that report involves interviewing the director of that program. So for example, in special education, our students have to actually go and meet with, they can do it on phone or email, but they meet with their special education director, and there's an interview template that they have to interview that director and then write a report and upload it and submit it. Okay, so in the syllabus of that particular course, it has a list of all the special programs that they'll be expected to in those directors that they'll be expected to interview the entire semester. The template or the interview is fixed. It does not change. I asked you to ask the same sort of questions and write the same type of report with all those directors. So, and that's a pretty involved process. I mean, that lining up interviews and writing a report takes some time. But since you know the schedule up front of all the directors, and you have the template already, you know, right at the beginning of the semester, you can go ahead and start scheduling all those interviews and start writing all those reports. You don't have to have that module open. You don't have to do the reading assignments. You don't have to do the quiz. You don't have to do the discussion board to do that component of the module. And this particular part is the most time consuming. So you could, in this example, in this class of mine, you could do all those reports and get them all knocked out as quick as you could. Okay. Then as those modules open up and you're staying with the class on the discussion boards, etc., you know, you're just waiting for that module to open up to upload that written report. So that's an example of how I do, in some degree of, you know, trying to strike a balance between your needs and trying to keep everybody together in the class. You know?
Right. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's the way to do it, because that, you know, that's something that comes up a lot. That's another interesting thought about online programs is, and I understand it. You know, you might think that an online program, and you could do this. You know, an instructor could lay out on day one, could lay out everything in the course. Here's every reading assignment. Here are all the quizzes or whatever assignments you have to do. They're all right here. You can just go forward and go forth. You know, just do it all.
Like all of our dual credit kids over here.
Yeah, and someone may really get after it, and in 2 weeks they've got
Done the whole semester
done. And and there's learning going on. I'm not, I see that, but also the part of this is that students are engaged. You're engaged with your colleagues along the way, kind of thing. And plus, this also, and I will tell you, and I tell my students, this also allows me to, before a module opens up, I can review the materials I want you to read that I've uploaded. I don't change things drastically all the time, no, but it does allow me, a week or so to just review if this is, if there's a timely article or if there's some reading I want you to, that just something just came out in the news, it allows me, the opportunity to tweak it and fine tune a module, a topic right before it is to be released. Much like in your lessons in your classes that you teach, you certainly have an outline of the entire course where you want to take the students. You have a lot of your resources already gathered, but I venture a guess that during the course of the school year, you're probably evaluating and changing and updating and, along the way. I mean, and so we do the same thing. And if you were to just push it all out at once, I couldn't make any changes at that point. So it's kind of selfish too.
No.
It's a great question.
But really just from the financial side of it, like just knowing, like, let's say, like I see your classes would be the ones that I would take, like say in the summer,
okay. Yes.
5320 and 5333.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean not thinking about, well, let me just do all the work and then just sit around.
No, and I know you didn't say that.
Like actually, no. But yeah, but I can see, like I said, I see it here all the time. But like if I was able to buy I know I'm going to need this volume, this edition for next summer, I can use some Christmas bonus money. Yes. And then we'll just be sitting there until June or July, whenever.
And back to that, our course syllabi are posted in advance. In fact, you can go online and see our syllabi, and though they can change from semester to semester, but by and large are pretty much, intact. And so that also is to say you can look at our course syllabi and you can see reading assignments. Where courses may have a textbook, they all don't have textbooks. Mm-hmm. And so you could get a jump as far as back to your Christmas bonus money. You could buy the textbooks early on and start reading up and just you could get a jump that way too, much like you could do in a traditional class as well. So our syllabi are posted. And so a student could do as much preparation or as little, getting, as that they might, particularly with a new family coming on board. Both of my kids are, one's 26 and the other's 33. So I remember those days though.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah.
I'll be 61 when she walks the stage. So that's why I decided to get a jump on this as quick as I could. So.
Yeah, I hear you. Well, good for you. It's not, I went back and I got my doctorate in my 50s. So I was kind of, and my wife said, are you ever going to, are you ever not going to be in school? I said, well, probably not. But that's how that goes. But those are all good questions. But online is it offers some good opportunities for our students, but there are some unique challenges to it as well. I just can't stress enough for our students. I think in order to be successful, really just and this helps us. These conversations really help people get a better feel and understanding for the how the delivery of our programs are here at UT Tyler. So. By the way, they mentioned too, we've got some flexibility. So we've got about 5 minutes left. I've got 3:48. So, but they said they could be a little bit flexible for us, so we don't really have to run anybody off just yet. So that's good. Yeah. Any other questions or thoughts from anyone?
No, I'm good. Thank you.
Okay, well, you're very welcome. And so to everyone, our handbook that Mike posted is a very good information resource. You can download that as a PDF. And also all the links on it are active. They'll take you right to those various places. And there's all sorts of information as far as who to speak to about admissions. what's required. There's email addresses. You can email me. You can email folks in the office and graduate studies. All sorts of people here to help. So that's and of course this webinar was designed to help. Actively, we are always recruiting for our program. We are a growing university. People may not know a lot about UT Tyler, but we're almost about 11,000 students now, which is a great thing. And I see that Mike has just typed up the email, and you can contact Mike and his folks and his offices anytime. They're always great on helping everyone as far as getting answers. And if you're by chance enrolled in our program and you're in the East Texas area, we do have a lot of teachers from Tyler ISD and other school districts around the area. I actually get students visiting me sometimes, actually on campus, which is great. I'm here in my office right now, and I do keep office hours. That may seem kind of strange, but I do. And I actually sometimes will have students show up. It's like, oh my gosh, it's a real treat. To have students, face to face. It's great. But this interaction too, I've gotten very comfortable with it, and it's a good way for me to get to know students too. We also do a lot of activities with school districts, like any university. We do reach out to our community. We understand we are a regional kind of university, and we're here for our school districts. We're here for the community at large. And so, in fact, I was at a campus in Chapel Hill ISD, which is just a little bit east of here. I was out in meeting with teachers today. So we do interact a lot face-to-face in other ways, other capacities with teachers aside from the online program. So, it keeps us, engaged, with campuses and working with principals, working with teachers, working with school districts. So we do a lot of, those activities that keep us really connected a lot outside, this structured online program. So, also, I see Michelle, she's at a Texas college. All right, well, good for you. And Michelle, are you wanting this superintendency program? Is that correct? Is that what you're interested in? It said, if that is true, then when you go to the superintendency link, I think you'll see Dr. Jennifer Jones's name. She's awesome. She will be able to help you on all things as far as applying for the superintendency. It is the certification program. It's essentially the same process, essentially the same, but of course, superintendencies is unique to that program. And said, I was never a sup. I was an elementary principal for 13 years. And here's my take on being a superintendent. I was thinking of all the ups and downs being an elementary principal. And I was in Keller ISD, and also I was in Denton ISD, both very large, fast-growing districts. I was thinking to myself, you take all the trials and tribulations that I had as an elementary principal in Keller, and then you multiply that times 30 campuses. I don't think I want to do that. I don't think I want to do. And I realize it's not quite that simplistic, but I'm thinking, wow, yeah, good for y'all. Let's see. It says we do need to wrap it up. So there we are. So once again, I want to thank you for attending. You have my email address. You have OGS's email address. I would like to talk more about it. You can give me a phone call. We can talk, that way, or email chat, however you want to do it. Once again, and Mike at OGS, I want to thank you for guiding us through this. I think it was a lot of fun for me. I hope y'all got a lot out of it, and we look forward to seeing you in our program. So with that, Mike, I'll let you sign us off. You've got the controls. I want to say goodbye to everyone.
All right, thank you.
All right, you're very welcome. Bye-bye.